You know, it's just one of those things. You can't just start one little thing when you're working on your Jeep. It's going to turn into a bunch of other stuff. I was pulling out the brackets for the seat. I powder coated them. I finished them and everything. And I was looking around as the seat was up, and I noticed that the previous owner had some fiberglass covering this area here. And I ended up, I took some MAP gas to it. I scraped it up, cut out this little triangle piece, a couple pieces here, and I welded in a 16 gauge. I've been using 18 gauge for the body, for little pieces that I've been trying to fill in, little rust spots I've been welding in, but I get a lot of blow through. I am very much a beginner welder and still learning. You can see this isn't perfect right here. You can kind of see that triangle pattern there to the lower right of the bolt hole. The rest of that is all pock marks from rust. Again, I'm probably going to be stripping this whole thing down in a couple years and refinishing everything up. But right now, I'm just trying to do some of the main body work in the winter times, and then I get to drive around in the summer. So that's sort of what I've been doing right now. Not exactly super efficient. I'm going to have to do everything 2, 3, 4 times, but whatever. Anyway, so then I started looking around. I noticed that, hey, there's a pretty big fiberglass area right down where the seat belt connector is. And so I wish I'd taken some video of this, but definitely the MAP gas is really, really good. I had read that somewhere. Basically, you just blow it with some MAP, just sit there, and it just takes a couple seconds. And you take a putty knife, a metal putty knife, and it just scrapes right up. It will catch on fire, so just be a little careful with that. But you just then scrape it right up as you're going through there, and it just kind of comes up, just kind of all gooey. Take some pliers and just kind of tug at the ends, and it all comes up in pieces. Well, hopefully it comes out in sheets, but you can kind of see all the other rubbish there. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and work on this over the next week or so as I have time, and then go ahead and cut something out. Again, I'm probably going to use 16 gauge. It'll be a little harder. I'll have to wrap around some of this, this curves up a little bit there. I'm probably going to cut, but luckily all this looks pretty good here. I think that's all fiberglass goo right there, just strips. But I can be pretty flat. I can just cut this out right here, go up, and then around and there, and hopefully I can get a good bend on my my piece that I'm going to weld in. I will have to drill some holes. And there is a welded and captured nut over here for the seat belt connector. I'll go ahead and put that in here, but at least this tells me where the position is. It's exactly the up front here of this groove, and so is that one, so I can use this over here as a measurement. But of course, who knows, after I finish that, I gotta guess what, this whole, yep, that's all fiberglass right in there. Who knows what's underneath there. So I know that's a pretty common area for it to rust out. That's going to be a bit of a job. And guess what, it's got a little sister over here. Same type of thing, a bunch of fiberglass there. Again, I have no idea what to find underneath, but that's going to require taking out the whole, the bars and everything. So that may be a project. I don't know if I can get that done this winter. That would be sort of nice. But this is the next task. I've cut out this piece here. Bent it. I think it's a pretty good fit with the angle. Fit right in there. I've already marked it out with a Sharpie. And go ahead and cut this piece out. And there you have it. So here it is. The panel's already patched in there. Went ahead and cut it out, pulled it out, and then created that new panel to go in there. I've now welded it in there. I think what I'm going for here is possibly the worst welding job ever. That's horrible. And I was getting all kinds of splatter, everything else. I think it'll hold reasonably well. There's enough surface or edge contact there that it's going, but this will do for now. I'm not going for perfection here. I'm just trying to get all the main rust holes and everything out. I'm going to put some body filler in here next. Do a little priming, probably prime, then body filler, sand that down, and then give it a quick rattle can spray paint job. Again, I mentioned this in previous videos, but I'm not going for the best ever. I'm probably just going to strip this whole thing at some point in a couple of years once I get all the engine stuff worked out and everything else. Right now I'm just trying to take care of, during the winter time while it's down, while I'm not really driving it around, take care of some of these repairs and mess around a little bit and clean some things up and get some of the rust out of here. But anyway, next steps. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I did weld in a hole for the seat belts right here. I cut that out and kept the patch from the previous one, and that hole is exactly in front of that little groove there. It's the same as over here on the driver's side. That's a 7/16. I welded in a nut underneath there. I didn't have a weldable nut, so what I did was I just ground off the zinc coating from another 7/16 nut I had, and that worked out much better. You kind of live and learn. I started to weld it a little bit. Didn't work underneath there, and then I looked it up, and yeah, you can't really weld with a zinc coating on some of these nuts and bolts that come straight out of Home Depot or some of the other big box stores. So you have to just do a really quick grind off, and it seemed to weld much better after that. Anyway, I got that in there. It's holding, I think, pretty well, and I think I'm all set. I put some blue painter's tape underneath the weld spots here. I'm going to do a little body filler right in some of those edges, and I put that tape there just so it doesn't fall through to the back side to make it kind of flush on the bottom. But I'll push a little bit of body filler in there and see if I can't smooth that out. And there it is. Again, not perfect by a long stretch, but it's all patched up, no more rust. I got my welded in capture nut in there for the seat belts. And I mean, all this was all old fiberglass and old paint or something that the previous owner had done. But yeah, there was the welded seam right there. Pretty mangled, pretty nasty. But that's going to work out great, at least for the next couple of years until I get this whole thing torn apart and redone. But at least in the meantime, it's not going to rust anymore. I went ahead and primed it and painted it from underneath as well. So should be good to go.